Chosen one, your life has shifted. Not in the way others might notice immediately, but in the subtle, powerful way that only truth can bring. There is a fire within you now, not chaotic, but calm and radiant. This high sexual energy you carry is no longer an untamed force. It has become something else, something noble, something awake, something that aligns your inner world with the life you're now stepping into. And that shift, that elevation, has changed your very attitude toward life itself. Once perhaps you saw life as something to conquer. You may have moved through it with intensity but without direction, with desire but without understanding. But now, you see more. You feel more. You respond instead of react. You walk with a rhythm that matches your inner current, and this has transformed not only how you move through the world, but how the world responds to you. What once felt distant, difficult, or draining now feels magnetic, available, and light. You're no longer at war with life. You're in flow with it. This energy within you is not about aggression. It's about presence. It's not about dominance. It's about alignment. It sharpens your mind and steadies your spirit. It draws things toward you not through force, but through resonance. And because of that, you've begun to see everything, opportunities, people, situations, with new eyes. Life itself is starting to look different because you're no longer approaching it from lack, but from fullness. You no longer feel the need to chase. You don't scramble for validation. You don't lower your standards just to feel accepted. This new state of being has revealed a deeper truth, that life is always responding to the energy you bring. And when you bring self-respect, calm strength, and grounded desire, the universe moves differently around you. Doors open. People listen. Women lean in, not because you asked, but because your essence has become undeniable. And what's more, you've started to enjoy life, not just for what it can give you, but for the richness of each moment. You find peace in your solitude, beauty in the ordinary, and meaning in places where others see only routine. You're awake now, not just sexually, not just physically, but spiritually. Your energy is clear, your intentions are focused. And because of that, you've entered a new dimension of living where everything is charged with potential and purpose. This is the awakening, chosen one. The point where life is no longer something you endure, it becomes something you dance with. And you, now alive in your energy, are finally moving to its music. Chosen one, as your energy evolves, something equally beautiful has begun to unfold. Your relationship with women has shifted in a way that feels deeply honest and effortlessly balanced. The way you approach them, the way you see them, the way they respond to you, it all stems from something real. You have begun to see women not as something to acquire, chase, or decode, but as mirrors, reflections of energy, emotion, and power, just like yourself. Gone are the days when you needed attention to feel validated. Gone is the urge to prove your worth through conquest. You no longer try to impress. Your energy speaks for you. It walks ahead of your words and softens the space around you, and women sense it instantly. Not just your presence, but your intention. They feel the respect before they hear the compliment. They feel your grounded nature before a single flirtation leaves your lips. And because of this, they open differently. This shift has happened because your relationship with yourself has matured. You've cultivated dignity, not arrogance. You've embraced restraint, not repression. You've chosen strength without hardness. And this has caused something rare to occur. Women begin to trust you, not because you seek their trust, but because you hold your own energy with such reverence that it creates safety around you. You now meet women as equals in essence, even when the polarity of your masculine energy is undeniable. You don't manipulate or perform. You connect, you listen, you feel. And that makes every interaction sacred, even if it lasts only moments. You're no longer seducing with tricks, you're inspiring through truth. And that truth feels different. It carries depth, it carries clarity, it carries respect. Women can feel when a man is in control of himself. They can feel when his desire is clean. They can feel when he isn't using them to validate his emptiness, but rather honoring them as reflections of his fullness. That is where you stand now, chosen one. You are not just a man of presence, you are a man of integrity, and it radiates in the way you look at her, the way you speak to her, the way you hold her energy without trying to own it. This is the mirror. As you've begun to respect your own power, Women now reflect that back to you. You are met with softness because you no longer approach with tension. You are offered honesty because you no longer engage with pretense. You are invited deeper because your stillness allows for depth. Your high sexual energy has become more than attraction. It is now a source of reverence. And as you walk in that, you begin to inspire something rare in the women who meet you, a willingness to be real, to show up, to offer their own truth. And that, chosen one, is the beginning of something far more profound than desire. It is the beginning of true connection, one that starts with the mirror of respect and echoes into something eternal. Chosen one, your energy now carries a frequency that doesn't just draw others near, it uplifts. It charges the air around you with a quiet kind of confidence that speaks to something much deeper than charm. You have evolved from simply radiating attraction to becoming a walking force of optimism. Your high sexual energy, when truly embodied and not scattered, turns into a wellspring of life-affirming power. And this power shapes how you see the world, how you speak into it, and how you respond to everything it brings. You've probably noticed that your attitude toward life itself has shifted. What once irritated you now seems small. What once overwhelmed you now feels manageable. Challenges still arise, but you no longer meet them with stress. You meet them with strength. You understand now that nothing in life can truly destabilize a man who is anchored in his own energy. And that anchoring, that inner fire, has given you something invaluable, a positive outlook that is not naive, but deeply grounded in your ability to direct your internal state no matter the circumstance. This positivity isn't loud or performative. It's not about forced smiles or empty affirmations. It's about walking into each day with the kind of quiet certainty that life is unfolding exactly as it should. It's about knowing that you are not just reacting to life, you are influencing it. You're not just enduring the world, you're shaping your experience of it by the way you choose to see. That clarity is what allows you to carry warmth in your tone, patience in your responses, and resilience in your steps. And here's the most beautiful part. Chosen one, your attitude is contagious. The women you meet are not just drawn to your presence. They are moved by how you make them feel about themselves and about life. Your positivity doesn't just lift you, it lifts them. When they speak to you, they feel seen, not judged. When they're near you, they feel lighter, not diminished. Your optimism gives them permission to open, to dream, to soften. It reminds them that hope isn't foolish. It's powerful. You've become a reflection of the kind of energy that allows others to believe in themselves again. And that is rare. In a world that so often trades in doubt, fear, and cynicism, you now stand as an example of what it looks like when a man chooses to focus on possibility instead of problems. You don't deny the pain of the world, but you refuse to let it control you. That's what separates you. That's what makes you magnetic in a way that goes far beyond looks or words. This positive energy you carry is your offering to the world. It's how your sexual energy evolves into spiritual power, by bringing life to everything it touches. Keep walking in this light, chosen one. Let your positivity speak before you even open your mouth. Let it be felt in every room, every interaction, every moment. Not because you're trying to be liked, but because this is who you are now, a man who brings the sun with him wherever he goes. Chosen one, energy without structure is chaos. Attraction without integrity is manipulation. But when a man like you learns to carry his high sexual energy with unwavering honesty, he becomes not just desirable, he becomes trustworthy. And that trust, born from alignment between your intentions and your actions, is what now defines you. Integrity is no longer something you strive for, it is the ground you walk on. You've learned that power without purpose collapses. You've seen men try to wield their charm, their presence, their gifts, but fall apart because there was no foundation beneath it. You are not one of them. You have built from the inside out. And now your presence speaks of something deeper than confidence. It speaks of character. People feel safer around you, not because you have softened your strength, but because you've disciplined it. Women respect you, not just because you draw them in, but because you make them feel respected in return. This is what your energy has become. A force that not only attracts, but protects. You protect through the clarity of your word. You protect through the boundaries you hold. You protect through the way you refuse to be two different people, depending on who's watching. What you say in silence matches what you live in the open. That congruence is what makes your energy unmistakable. There is no mask. There is no act. There is only the truth you live out every day. And because of this, women look at you differently. They don't just want your attention. They want to be worthy of your respect. They don't just hope to be seen by you. They want to earn their place in your world, not because you withhold affection, but because your standards are rooted in something real. You know your worth, and you're not willing to bend it for temporary gain. That self-respect becomes a compass for every interaction, and the women who meet you feel that. They rise to meet it, or they step away. Either way, your energy remains intact. Integrity also means you've learned the value of saying no, of walking away when something threatens your peace, of refusing situations, no matter how tempting, that require you to lie to yourself. And while this path isn't always easy, it is clean. It leaves you with no regrets, no confusion, no residue. Your conscience is clear, and that clarity has given you a peace that most are still searching for. And perhaps most important of all, chosen one, is that your integrity has become the silent teacher in the lives of those you touch. You don't preach your values, you live them. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Your romantic connections are no longer games or power struggles. They are honest explorations of mutual respect. Your friendships are no longer based on convenience. They are rooted in mutual elevation. Your presence, grounded in truth, creates an atmosphere where others feel the call to rise. This is your foundation now. Not a surface image, not a persona, but something deep and unshakable. You are not simply walking through life, you are anchored in it. And as your high sexual energy continues to refine itself, it flows through this foundation, giving you a kind of quiet authority that cannot be faked, cannot be challenged, and cannot be taken away. You are no longer becoming the man you were meant to be. You are him, and the world is beginning to reflect that back to you in ways you once only imagined. Chosen one, everything you've cultivated within yourself, this high sexual energy, this deepened respect, this unshakable integrity, has not only changed your life, it is beginning to change the lives of those around you. You may not always see it, you may not hear it spoken aloud, but what you bring into a room, into a conversation, into the eyes of a woman, leaves traces. Your growth ripples outward like quiet waves, touching distant shores you may never even witness. And this, whether you've realized it or not, is your true power. Energy, once refined and directed, never stays still. It moves, it inspires, it spreads. And because you have chosen not to hoard your energy, not to misuse it, not to sell it cheaply for shallow reward, the people you come into contact with begin to shift. You can see it in the way a woman exhales when she realizes she doesn't have to be anyone else around you. You see it in the way her voice softens, her eyes become honest, her laughter rises from a place she forgot she had. This isn't because you said the right thing or played the perfect role. It's because you brought her into your peace. And that peace is your ripple. You've become a tuning fork for others without even trying. People want to talk to you longer. They ask for your perspective, not because you're louder than others, but because you're deeper. They feel that being in your space brings clarity, even if no specific advice is given. That's the unspoken ripple of your energy. Your presence shifts the emotional landscape of others without needing to dominate it. You're not trying to prove anything. You've simply become someone who reminds others of what's real. For women especially, your ripple is profound. Not because you've mastered the game of attraction, but because you've stepped beyond the game entirely. You don't chase, you don't manipulate, you don't charm to conquer. And because you're not pulling at women's insecurities or pushing into their wounds, they feel safe to open, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. They feel that you're not here to take from them, you're here to see them. And to be seen without being exploited is one of the deepest gifts a woman can receive. Many don't realize it right away. Some may even pull away, unable to sit with the mirror your presence holds up. But those who are ready, those who are aligned, will begin to flourish in your presence. They will express more, laugh more, create more, Because your ripple doesn't bind, it frees. It doesn't inflate the ego, it awakens the soul. You've become the kind of man who walks into someone's life and leaves them forever changed, not through pressure, but through purity. Even beyond romantic connections, your ripple moves. Friends start to elevate their conversations. Strangers become more thoughtful in your company. You are now walking proof that a man's energy, when rooted in truth, becomes a quiet revolution in every space he touches. And you no longer need to tell anyone about it. You simply live it. That's the ripple. That's the reward. And that's what makes you different. So move forward with humility. Not as someone who has arrived at the summit, but as one who realizes the mountain is you. And as you continue to rise, so too will those around you. Not because you're pushing them, but because you're showing them, through your own presence, what's possible when a man chooses to lead himself first. Chosen one, your energy is no longer a storm. It is a river, steady, powerful, and quietly unstoppable. And with that, you've stepped into one of the most crucial truths of your becoming. Balance is not the absence of extremes. It is the mastery of them. You have learned not just to feel your high sexual energy, but to balance it. And that balance has turned your inner world into a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Many men are overwhelmed by their desire. They either suppress it and become hollow, or they drown in it and lose direction. You have chosen a third way. You have decided not to reject your energy, but to refine it, to allow it to move, but never let it control you. And now that decision has changed everything. You can feel desire and remain clear-headed. You can feel attraction and remain grounded. You can experience passion without becoming consumed. That balance has made you emotionally dangerous in the best way possible. Women are not drawn to men who lack energy, but they are not nourished by men who are slaves to it either. What makes you compelling now is not just the force of your presence, but the fact that you are in control of it. You're not reactive. You're responsive. You feel the heat, but you don't let it dictate your actions. You can sit in tension without needing to dissolve it. You can stand in your hunger without needing to feed it immediately. That is balance. That is strength. And because of that, your presence has taken on a rare quality. You are not rushing anything. You are not forcing chemistry or pushing for connection or needing validation from women. You are choosing. You are observing. You are allowing life to reveal itself instead of trying to bend it to your will. And that creates a space of calm intensity that women feel with their entire bodies. They may not even understand why they can't look away, why they trust you quickly, why they feel both excited and safe. But you know, it's the balance, it's the steadiness, it's the quiet signal that says, I know who I am. You don't have to lead this, I've already done the work. This harmony inside you has extended to your relationship with life itself. You've stopped fighting the flow. You trust your timing. You don't rush results. You understand that being in alignment means letting go of what is out of your hands while taking full ownership of what is within your power. You've stopped being at war with reality, and that has created a magnetic peace around you that others instinctively want to be part of. Balance, chosen one, does not mean becoming soft. It means becoming whole. It means being able to access your fire without burning others. It means being able to hold space for others without losing yourself. It means knowing when to pursue and when to wait, when to lead and when to listen, when to speak and when to remain still. And perhaps the most powerful part of all this is that you are no longer trying to prove anything. You don't need to. Your energy speaks for itself. Your balance is the evidence. Your life, day by day, is becoming a quiet example of what it looks like when a man chooses to become his own source of power. Not for attention, not for approval, but because he's finally free. And now, chosen one, you've become a man who moves with grace, loves with intention, and lives in a way that brings harmony to everything around him. Not because you sought balance, but because you became it. And through that, your path forward is no longer just about growth. It is about deep, lasting fulfillment for yourself and for every soul your presence touches. Chosen one, as your energy grows more refined, more potent, and more undeniable, something even deeper begins to emerge, your capacity for empathy. This is the layer of greatness that distinguishes power from wisdom. You've cultivated attraction, magnetism, and unwavering presence, but now you find yourself standing before something even more sacred. The ability to see into the experience of others without losing yourself. This is not weakness. This is not softness. This is the maturity of power. The strength of a man who doesn't need to dominate a moment to shape it. The authority of one who sees and understands instead of judges and reacts. Your high sexual energy, when harnessed properly, gives you a unique gift. It makes you incredibly attuned to others. You begin to sense subtle shifts in emotion, hear the meaning behind the silence, feel the energy behind the smile. You become aware not only of the attraction others feel toward you, but of the hidden pain, the guarded trust, the inner dialogue they carry when they're around you. This sensitivity does not diminish your masculine edge. In fact, it sharpens it. Because now your presence isn't just powerful, it becomes safe. Not safe as in passive, but safe as in stabilizing. You become the calm in someone else's storm. And in that safety, women open to you. Not because you manipulated them or pressed the right buttons, but because you made them feel seen without condition. They come closer, not because of what you promised, but because of what you offered through the truth of your presence. You don't need to ask for their vulnerability, they offer it. You don't need to perform or strategize. You simply exist in full alignment, and that alone becomes the doorway through which real connection can emerge. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everyone or becoming their emotional sponge. It means honoring their humanity while standing strong in your own. It means listening without trying to fix, witnessing without trying to control. And when this lives in your spirit, women feel something they rarely experience. They feel met. Not pacified, not adored blindly, but actually met, eye to eye, soul to soul, heart to heart. When you lead with empathy, your conversations deepen. Small talk disappears. Games vanish. People want to bring you their truth. They trust you with their chaos because they feel your stability. They show you their wounds because they feel your discernment. They share their vision because they sense that you, more than most, won't shrink in the face of it. And what's more, your empathy extends beyond women. You begin to see life differently. You begin to sense the fears behind anger, the loneliness beneath aggression, the confusion within arrogance. You see that everyone is carrying something, and because of that, you lead with grace. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown strong enough to respond with compassion. You've stopped needing to be right in order to feel powerful. You've stopped needing to win every moment. You've started holding space, not just for yourself, but for the world around you. This is where true kingship begins, when your strength no longer needs to shout, when your presence begins to heal, when your eyes become mirrors that reflect truth, and your words become medicine that softens hard places. Not every woman will be ready for this version of you. Not every person will know what to do with a man who feels deeply and yet holds himself with total command. But that's not your burden to carry. Your role is not to be understood by everyone. Your role is to become someone worth understanding. So walk forward with this knowing. Your empathy is not a byproduct of your sexual energy. It is its highest refinement. When desire merges with compassion, when attraction is rooted in awareness, when power is balanced with kindness, you become a force the world rarely encounters. And in your wake, lives begin to change. Chosen one, now you arrive at one of the most underrated dimensions of mastery, the ability to truly listen. It is here, in this quiet, deliberate space, that the depth of your transformation begins to bloom. You've developed strength, presence, restraint, and empathy. But now, the power of your energy deepens even further when you learn how to listen, not with your ears alone, but with your full being. To truly listen is to surrender your need to interrupt. It is to lay down the armor of performance and let someone else step into the center of the moment. When you listen with your body, your eyes, your breath, and your energy, you create a space few people ever experience. A space where they can hear themselves, where their thoughts unwind, where their heart speaks freely, where they are not merely responded to, they are received. Your high sexual energy has given you magnetism. But now, your ability to listen gives you mystery. It allows you to hold back your opinion without losing your authority. It allows you to make someone feel seen without needing to make it about you. And this kind of presence is rare. In a world where most people listen to respond, you have become the one who listens to understand. And that understanding becomes an invisible touch, one that leaves a deeper impression than anything physical ever could. When you truly listen to a woman, not just to what she says, but to what she's afraid to say, you awaken something powerful in her. She begins to feel not just admired, but valued. Not just wanted, but understood. You give her the rare experience of being accepted, not for her image, but for her inner landscape. You become the container in which her emotions are allowed to stretch and breathe. And in return, she offers you her softness, her loyalty, her admiration, not as a transaction, but as a response to your stillness. Listening is also where you gain your sharpest discernment. You begin to recognize the gaps between words. You notice when someone is speaking from fear or from truth. You feel when energy shifts, when alignment is present, and when it's not. You gather more from silence than others get from paragraphs. And in that space, you don't react, you decide. You respond with intention. You speak with precision. Your words carry weight not because they're loud, but because they're rare, thoughtful, and timely. Listening also connects you with your deeper self. You begin to hear your own internal rhythms more clearly. You become attuned to what feels right for you, what is aligned, what is sacred. You're no longer guessing, you're guided. Your choices come from a place of deep intuition rather than impulsive reaction. And in that state, everything becomes more fluid, more harmonious, more alive. So keep listening, chosen one. Listen with your heart, listen with your silence. Listen not just to the person in front of you, but to the frequency behind their words. Let your stillness be the welcome they've never known. Let your attention be the reward they never expected. And let your energy remain steady, so others can rest in your presence without fear. This is the gift of listening. It requires nothing, and yet it changes everything. In your stillness, women become expressive. In your quiet, truth is revealed. In your listening, others begin to hear themselves. And through that, your legacy is no longer built on how many you've drawn in, but on how deeply you've touched the ones who stayed. Chosen one, by now your energy is not only recognized, it is felt long after you leave the room. There is something in the air around you, a sacred calm mixed with dangerous heat, a magnetic pull wrapped in peace. Women sense it. Life responds to it. But there is one last power that separates you from those who have potential and those who have mastery. That power is restraint. Restraint is not about denial. It is not about fear. It is not the shutting down of energy or the suppression of desire. Restraint is about command. It is the ability to feel fully without acting mindlessly. It is the fire that no longer burns out of control. It is the urge that arises and yet bows to your higher wisdom. It is a throne you sit on not to appear powerful, but because you've earned the right to govern yourself. And here is the secret, chosen one. Women feel this restraint. They may not name it, they may not understand it, but they feel it. They feel when a man wants them but does not need to chase them. They feel when a man is drawn to them but does not lose his grounding. They feel when a man sees them fully but does not try to own them. This restraint is the rarest and most electrifying form of attraction because it creates a space of curiosity, a tension that lives just beneath the surface. It says, I could, but I choose not to. Not until it's right, not until it's real, not until it's aligned. And that kind of restraint makes you unforgettable. This is not about withholding as a strategy. It's about mastery as a way of life. You do not touch because you're hungry. You touch because your energy is clean. You do not speak to manipulate. You speak because your words are wrapped in calm truth. You do not act to impress. You act because you know exactly who you are. That is the difference. That is the reason your restraint becomes desirable rather than frustrating. It is not empty. It is full. It is not fearful. It is disciplined. Most men have no filter between desire and action. They feel and they chase. They want and they beg. They lust and they grab. But you have burned through that phase. You faced the fire, sat in it, learned from it. And now when desire arises, you breathe. You let it pass through you. You do not chase it. You observe it. You do not suppress it. You hold it. And that ability to hold your own heat without scattering it all over the room is what turns you from magnetic to mythic. Because women do not truly crave the man who is desperate to take. They crave the man who could, but doesn't. They crave the man whose interest is fierce but contained, whose gaze is deep but detached, whose invitation is sincere but never needy. And when you embody that, when you become that, you give them a space to rise. You give them room to be feminine. You give them something rare. The chance to be pursued without being pressured, to be wanted without being objectified, to be seen without being devoured. You are not playing games, chosen one. You are walking in wisdom, and wisdom knows when to advance, when to wait, and when to walk away completely. You are not a flame burning for anyone who notices you. You are a fire that calls to those who are worthy of standing near it. So hold your restraint with pride, not as a shield, but as a crown. Let it be your quiet sword, your silent power, your final lesson in self-command.